of them.
Well, welcome back on the AM show. As announced, before we go hard on talking agriculture, let's also look at this leaked IGP tape. Well, the committee's report has also leaked. I guess everything about it is leaking. But there has been some talk of that in the media. And we have our own man, Samuel Mbura, who has been on that beat. He was in Parliament following the committee's work. He joins me in the studio because the vice chair of that committee also has a take suggesting that what is out there could very well be, well, by and large, what we have seen, leaked. But Samuel Mbura joins the conversation. Mr. Mbura, good to have you on the show.
Good morning, my brother. This is the first time we are meeting for the year 2024.
Oh, how do you say it in?
I've say na yakwenim.
I've say ni yakwenim.
Yeah. So in my language, you say Yompale, meaning happy
Yompale.
Happy New Year.
Yompale.
Yeah.
Okay. How would I respond?
Then you now respond with your wish. Maybe next year by this time we have longer life, we have good health, we have enough money.
Yeah. So say that. Say that in your language.
Oh, you know how one of my time to tell vom. Legally, la sumason.
Oh,
yeah. Meaning next year by this time we have good health, we have strength, we have money.
Okay.
To enjoy life. Yeah.
I heard something akin to tatale. You got me thinking of beans, but I know it's not. that's just on a lighter note.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the committee's work. Yeah. And there was this other entity, a media entity that put out, especially since yesterday, a leaked report.
Yeah.
And then it got, I am on some platforms and the conversations there were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Walk us through what has happened so far and what we are hearing now from the vice chair of that committee.
All right, so what we are discussing this morning is not just based on the news circulating, but per our own sources, what the committee has put together so far. We know very well that 3 months ago, the committee had to suspend the interrogation with the witnesses and all those who matter in this case and go into their own drafting of the reports and all that. So before Parliament went on recess, there was a final meeting that they met that the clerks actually gave them a draft report. In that draft report, there were recommendations by the committee members that issues have been captured in the report that were not agreed by the committee, so they should expunge them. So on the back of this particular statement or this draft report, we know got leaked. And again, we are discussing it on the basis that our sources are telling us that what is out there is not substantially different from what has been captured in the committee's report. So let me just give you a recap. We know very well that this particular committee that was set up, the Adhoc committee, was to, one, look at the plot, the conspiracy by certain high-ranking police officers to remove the IGP, whether that was actually the situation or not. The second one had to do with the authenticity of the contents of the leaked audio tape, which Bugri Nabu first brought out, and then subsequently other tapes came up. The contents of the leaked audio tape revealing the presence of partisan leadership in the Ghana Police Service. How is that going to play out, or how the veracity in that as well? So there was a purported rift between the current IGP and the officers of the Ghana Armed Forces. So these were some of the allegations in addition to the contents of the leaked audio tape, particularly the assertions of the said highly ranking police officers confirming entrenched politicization of the system, and the leaked audio tape uncovers a treasonable agenda to subvert the authenticity of the current IGP, as well as power of the President of the Republic, who is vested with the executive authority power to appoint or remove any IGP or for the Ghana Police Service. So we know that the terms of reference of the committee was, one, to look at or ascertain the veracity or otherwise the leaked tape, to also, one, investigate the conspiracy to remove the current IGP, Dr. George Akufudan-Parry. The third one was to investigate any other matter contained in the radio recording that was heard. We heard some media outlets playing it. The other one was to make recommendations for reforms where necessary, and to make such other recommendations and consequential orders as the committee may deem appropriate. So they had to invite all the witnesses involved. We remember that Bugri Nabu was the first person to appear before the committee. He testified. We had COP Alex Mensah, who is now retired, going to Bekwai to contest as a parliamentary candidate for the NPP. We have George Asare, who is still a serving officer. One, Mr. JB He is also with the forensic unit of the Ghana Police Service and the Criminal Investigations Department. So all these people appeared. These were the witnesses that appeared. Of
course, the IGP himself.
IGP himself appeared, and then National Security Minister Honorable Albert Kandapa appeared to testify. The reason he appeared was that, you know, when the leak tape came, the National Security also did their public reactions, also invited the witnesses to interrogate them. So they wanted to find out what their findings were. So when the Minister for National Security appeared before them, he only shared with them their findings. However, he didn't tender that in as evidence. He said it was a classified document. So if you say in security terms something is classified, meaning it is not meant for public consumption. So he only went there to testify orally that yes, this is what our findings are pointing to so far as this leak tape is concerned. However, I cannot tender this in as an exhibit of evidence. So right now, there were evidences that the committee relied on, which had to do with the leaked tape, the first audio, and the additional second tape made available to the committee by Chief Bugri Nabu. The second one was testimonies of the witnesses who were interrogated by the committee, whom I just mentioned earlier. And then subsequently, the committee discharged them and then went into their own, writing of the report, observations, and scrutiny of these, the testimonies that were actually provided. So issues came up. Some of the issues actually came up that they had to deal with, and I'll just run you through that. You know,
please do.
Yeah. So the committee, one having to do the conspiracy to remove the IGP. The information that we have, which we know, it is substantially not different from what is in the media space now. Is that regarding the conspiracy to remove the IGP, the committee establishes a clear affirmative based on evidence that senior police officers, including COP Alex Mensah, Superintendent George Lesenda Asari, and Superintendent Eric Emmanuel Jebi conspired with Bugri Nabu to influence the president and replace the IGP for partisan interest. So in terms of the issues that the committee were to look into, so they have been able to establish that based on the testimonies that they have given. So the committee
what we gathered from the tape was that on the back of the interest of the MPP, this IGP should be ousted so that, you know, things can go in favor of the party. And this was on the back of, was it the Asin North? Or it was the one before that?
So it was the one before, because they were talking about the fact that see what happened there, and then the IGP wasn't working in favor of the MPP. That's why things went that way for them. So the other one was that the committee concludes that the conspiracy has the potential to undermine, just reference to what you are talking about, electoral system and the police used to police it and all that. So the committee concludes that this conspiracy has the potential to undermine the integrity of the 2024 general elections. Actions aimed at pointing a partisan IGP as revealed in the audio tapes threaten transparency, accountability, and neutrality in election security management, violating constitutional and international rights. So the main idea was for them to send someone who is aligned with the MPP so that they can have, they can have advantage in the 2024 election. So the committee in its issues indicated that this is a potential threat to national security as well as electoral, or capable of bringing electoral violence and a breach of international rights. The act also of conspiracy by the senior officers, including COP Alex Mensah, Superintendent George Lesenda Asari, and Superintendent Eric Emmanuel Jebi, constitute professional misconduct. And they are making reference to some legal authorities. They are referring to the Police Service Act 1970, Act 350, and the Police Service Regulation 2012, CI 76. They say their actions conflict with constitutional duties, breach regulations, and bring disrepute to the police service. So in summary on the issues, the committee confirms the audio authenticity. The committee says that the audio as presented was authentic. It also establishes a conspiracy to...
But wait, there were two different versions. There was an extended version, so to speak.
Yes, so...
And the initial version. Which of them are they
So they are relying
authenticating?
They are relying on the initial version that was... Because the one that was given was the extended version of the initial one that was before the committee. Right. So, you know, initially the objections were raised that, yes, we had conversations with him, but this is not the entire conversation we've had with Bugri Nabu. And that's how come Bugri Nabu supplied the committee with the full tape. And that is where they now continue their investigation. So in summary, the committee confirms that the audio as presented by Bugri Nabu is authentic. It has established that there's a conspiracy to manipulate the IGP appointment for potential political gain, and also recognize the threat to the 2024 elections integrity, and declares professional misconduct by the involved senior officers.
So now we know that at least one of those officers, COP Mensah, has retired.
Exactly.
Is trying to become a lawmaker.
Exactly.
That paints an interesting picture, doesn't it?
That's it.
Because what then will be the consequences? I mean, on the back of this, it is not a court of law, right? But then the police service can take its own actions. I don't know what will pertain to someone who has retired from the service.
So there was a conversation. He himself, in an interview with Evans Mensah, which I produced, he was talking about, right now I'm out of the Ghana police service. The worst they can do to me is to take me to court for criminal prosecution, because the police cannot hold me against the disciplinary committee because I'm out of the service. I've hung my boots, I've given my uniform, everything to them. So the worst the police can do is to take him off his benefits, the retirement benefits and all that. But if there are criminal implications of the report, then they can take him to court and prosecute him based on that. So there were some facts that were actually established. So they said all 4 key witnesses, including Chief Bugri Nabu, 3 senior officers, confirmed the authenticity of their voices in the audio tape. They also say that the senior police officers conspired to remove the IGP, Dr. Akufo-Dampare, based on unfounded political affiliations, aiming to replace him with COP George Alex Mensah. Lobbying initiated by the police officers through Chief Bugri Nabu aimed at removing the current IGP. So basically, the committee has established the facts or the issues that were raised, or what they said, and the testimonies that they give, that yes, there were intentions to conspire and remove the IGP. Yes, there were intentions to remove the IGP and replace him with someone who is partisan to achieve their main aim. That is the 2024 general election. So there have been some recommendations. If you wouldn't mind, I'll just run you through the recommendations per, not just what is limited to the media or that what has been published in the media, but what we have also gathered so far, even though we are waiting for the committee to officially report to the Speaker of Parliament, and the Speaker of Parliament will lay before the plenary, then they can advance. And
you have had some interactions as well with members of the committee.
Exactly. So it is based on that we are having this conversation beyond the speculations out there. Yes, the committee has confirmed that what is out there is substantially not different from what they have recommended, with the exception that they made recommendations for the clerks who recorded the entire proceedings to expunge and then add certain findings to the report for them to finalize it. So the recommendations, per what we know, is that they are recommending further investigation and possible prosecution for perjury and professional misconduct of 3 senior officers involved in the conspiracy to remove the IGP. So they are proposing a review amendment of the constitutional and legislative provisions to secure the independence of the IGP's office. So they want the IGP's office to be different. The president should not be the one to decide, oh, I don't like your face, or maybe how you carried out this operation, I'm taking you out from the system. So this person should come in. So that's what the committee is recommending. They are suggesting they're aligning the terms and conditions of the IGP with the Justice of the Court of Appeal, and then with a non-renewable tenure after compulsory retirement at 60. So if you are Dampare, it's not 60 yet. So if it's the case that he has been appointed, meaning when he gets to 60 years that he can retire, but it shouldn't be the case that he can be taken off at any time. So there's also an advocacy that for specific grounds for the removal of the sitting IGP, emphasizing misbehavior, incompetence, or incapacity. So you can only remove him if he's incompetent, if he's misbehaving, or if he's not capable of managing the Ghana Police Service. And George Asare even commended IGP Akufo-Dampare that, if he has not done anything at all, he has brought facelift to the Ghana Police Service. And I remember when Evans Mensah posed that question to him, then why would you want him removed? They say everyone has an interest. Everyone, it's not just limited to that, but at least this is what he saw, that he wasn't capable, but regardless of that, he has been able to bring facelift to the Ghana Police Service. If possible, he should extend it to other police stations as well, as seen in the headquarters. So there's also a call for the enactment of the Code of Conduct for Public Officers Bill to address conflicts of interest. There's also an emphasis on the transparency in the deployment of security personnel for election security management and accountability for unprofessional conduct. The committee, per what we have gathered, is recommending continuous professional training for police personnel on legal, policy, and normative frameworks, collaborating with relevant stakeholders. And then they want an urgent establishment of an independent police complaint commission, what they call the IPCC, to replace the Police Professional Standard Bureau, what we call the PPSB, for enhanced accountability. So PPSB deals with internal disciplinary actions against police.
What used to be PIPS.
Exactly. So the last recommendation that we are learning is that they are rooting for the enforcement of existing provisions preventing the 7 police officers from engaging in activities leading into political controversy. We know very well, yes, you can do your covert politics. However, you will not be permitted to do it overtly. And even if the case that the system or the service is able to establish that you are in the service yet involved in a covert form of political activities, that is grounds enough to take you off from the Ghana police. So for now, that's the information that we have. We are waiting for the final report to be presented to the Speaker of Parliament, Abba Bagben. I'm told that before this month ends, the full report will be given to the Speaker of Parliament. But before then, you remember, before we went for the Christmas break, there was an invitation extended to the IGP to come to the Speaker. He had a meeting with the Speaker in Parliament on this same report. We spoke to the chairman of the committee, Atachia, who didn't want to reveal the details then. But we know that conversations are ongoing. There are also speculations out there that the report has been presented to the president, in which our sources indicate that no report has been presented to the president yet. It is, even if anything at all, it is the Speaker of Parliament that the committee is supposed to report to. Even the parties involved, because I've been speaking with the lawyers involved in this case, they have not been given any copy yet. They have not been given any report yet. They are waiting patiently for the full recommendations and the report by the committee. Then they can also take it from there.
Well, so those are the details we have as of now. Samuel Mbura, of course, joining me in the studio to elaborate. We've given you the icing on the cake. We've given you much more than is out there. This is not hearsay. This is from the word or the mouths of those who sat on that committee, which we can vouch for. Samuel Mbura, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Well, we proceed from here. We are now going to focus on agriculture and what we can expect or what we hope to see in that sector in the year 2024. That conversation right after the break.